Yonta Pravisha Mamavachamimam Prasuttan Sanjeevayat Akila Shakti Dhara Swadhamna Anyam Shahasta Charana Shavana Pragadi Pranam Bhagavate Purushaya Katanchana Smrite Yasmin Duskaram Sukaram Bhave Vismite Vipritam Sya Shri Chaitanya Namamitam. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming. So we are on the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter. Yaad hai na aapko? Chapter 9. And we are going to start with 32nd verse today, which is Bhishma's prayers to Lord Krishna. So all of you know, we have been discussing this 9th chapter for a pretty long time now. 9th chapter is one of the most famous chapters of the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. So the first 11 verses we saw how Bhishma is lying on a deathbed and still is able to welcome all the Pandavas and whoever has come to see him with a lot of grace and dignity. He is on the bed of arrows, which is excruciating pain, but still is very sober, very equipoised, and with a lot of clarity. And according to time, place, and circumstances, he is able to welcome all of them and offer them kind words. And then we saw, from after the first 11 verses, 12 to 17, we saw how he pacifies the Pandavas and encourages them. And then he glorifies Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead from text number 18 to 24. And then from 25 to 28, we saw he instructs Yudhishthira Maharaj very nicely. And then 29 onwards, 29, 30, 31. These three verses reveal to us the final moments of Bhishma. And from 32 onwards, the rest of the chapter, especially the next 11 verses, 32, we are starting 32 today. Every week we will try to cover 1 or 2 verses. 32 to 43 is amazing prayers of Bhishma, where he is focusing. His prayer is, let my mind be focused on Partha Sarathi Krishna, the one who is driving the chariot of Arjuna. He wants to meditate on that form of Krishna. And so this form, he wants to meditate. He also wants to meditate on Krishna's devotees. And he's remembering Krishna intensely because he's now about to leave the world. So we are going to start with the prayers now. So you can repeat after me. Verse number 32. So we will read the verse. All of you have access to Srimad Bhagavatam. If one of you will have to read the purport loudly. Okay? And now, this is a very different shlokas. Generally, in Bhagavatam, we have 2 meters in which we chant. The longer verses we chant in the meter of Taseva Heto Prayate Tapovido. This is the meter we chant. And the smaller verses we chant. Prayanalpa Yusha Sapya Kalo Asmin Yuge Jana. So Anushtup Chanda is this meter. So there are 2 meters we generally chant. But these prayers are a little different. They don't fit into both the meters. So there is a 3rd meter I learned from Lal Vinu Prabhu. So in this, generally we chant 1 line at a time. But here I will chant 2 lines. After that you repeat. So I will chant 2 lines, the first 2 lines, and then you repeat. Is that okay? Shri Bhishma Vacha. Iti Mati Rupakal Pita Vitrishna Bhagavati Satvata Pungave Vibhumi Mati Rupakal Pita Vitrishna Bhagavati Satvata Pungave Vibhumi Swasukam Upagate Vache Vihartam Prakriti Mupe Yushiyat Bhava Pravaha Upagate Vache Vihartam Prakriti Mupe Yushiyat Bhava Pravaha. So the first verse, translation. Who will read? You will read? You will read Sarah loudly.
Bhishma Dev said, "Let me now invest my thinking, feeling, and willing, which were so long engaged in different subjects and occupational duties, in the all-powerful Lord Sri Krishna. He is always self-satisfied, but sometimes, being the leader of the devotees, he enjoys transcendental pleasure by descending to the material world, although from him only the material world is created."
Yes. So, can you read the purport also?
Yes. Because Bhishma Dev was a statesman, the head of the Kuru dynasty, a great general and a leader of Kshatriyas. His mind was strewn over so many subjects, and his thinking, feeling, and willing were engaged in different matters. Now, in order to achieve pure devotional service, he wanted to invest all powers of thinking, feeling, and willing entirely in the Supreme Being, Lord Krishna. He is described herein as the leader of the devotees and all-powerful. Although Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, he himself descends to earth to bestow upon his pure devotees the boon of devotional service. He descends sometimes as Lord Krishna, as he is, and sometimes as Lord Chaitanya. Both are leaders of the pure devotees.
Both are leaders of the pure devotees. Pure devotees of the Lord have no desire other than the service of the Lord, and therefore they are called Satpathas. The Lord is the chief amongst such Satpathas. Bhishma Dev, therefore, had no other desires. Unless one is purified from all sorts of material desires, the Lord does not become one's leader. Desires cannot be wiped out, but they have only to be purified. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 10.10 by the Lord himself that he gives his instruction from within the heart of a pure devotee who is constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. Such instruction is given not for any material purpose, but only for going back home, back to Godhead. For the ordinary man who wants to lord it over material nature, the Lord only sanctions and becomes a witness of activities, but he never gives the non-devotee instructions for going back to God. That is the difference in dealings by the Lord with different living beings, both the devotee and the non-devotee. He is leader of all the living beings, as the king of the state rules both the prisoners and the free citizens. But his dealings are different in terms of devotee and non-devotee. Non-devotees never care to take any instruction from the Lord, and therefore the Lord is silent in their case. Although he witnesses all their activities and awards them the necessary results, good or bad. The devotees are above this material goodness and badness. They are progressive on the path of transcendence, and therefore they have no desire for anything material. The devotee also knows Sri Krishna as the original Narayan, because Lord Sri Krishna, by his plenary portion, appears as the Karana Lakshya Vishnu, the original source of all material creation. The Lord also desires the association of his pure devotees, and for them only the Lord descends to the earth and enlivens them. The Lord appears out of his own will. He is not forced by the conditions of material nature. He is therefore described here as the Vibhu, or the Almighty, for he is never conditioned by the laws of material nature.
Thank you for reading this. So there are two main themes in this purport. There are actually 5 to 6 different points that Prabhupada explains. One is Bhishma's main focus in this prayer is, or what does he want to offer the Lord? His thoughts, feelings, and thinking, feeling, and willing. Thinking, feeling, and willing is what he wants to offer the Lord. This is the one theme that comes out. So this is a lesson for devotees. We need to, when we are offering the Lord, we have to offer our thinking, feeling, and willing. And second thing that stands out is basically connected to that is gift. So see, we have to give a gift to Krishna. Like when you love someone, you give them a gift. So the ultimate gift we can give Krishna is the gift of our thoughts. They say in English, it's a thought that counts. Have you heard this phrase? So somebody may give a donation of 1 lakh rupees every month to the temple. But are you giving your thoughts, your willing, your feeling, your thinking, are you giving that to Krishna? That is very important because Krishna can know what you are thinking, feeling, and willing better than anyone else. And the best example is this very episode where Krishna tells Pandavas, now just tell me somebody is dying, very last stages, and you and your family decide to go and visit him. What kind of clothes you would wear? Would you wear flashy clothes that you wear for a wedding? No. So when Pandavas wanted to visit Bhishma after the war, what did Krishna tell them to wear? Very opulent, kingly clothes. He said, dress in royal garments. Dress in your best attire. Interesting. Why did Krishna tell Pandavas to wear royal outfits? Because Bhishma's need. So what is Bhishma's need? Yeah, from so many years, Bhishma's desire was that Pandavas should be the emperors. But it's a long story we have discussed in the past where Bhishma was compelled to work for Sir Duryodhana. That's another story. But in his heart, he wanted Pandavas to be the kings. So Bhishma's desire was to see them as emperors. So he wanted to see them come in royal garments. This was his desire, which Krishna knows because it's in the heart as Paramatma. And then Krishna tells Pandavas to dress in all royal garments. So that means the Lord knows what we are thinking. The other human beings may not know. Sometimes, I'm sure you all have experienced in relationships being misunderstood. Anybody here has ever experienced that I have been misunderstood? Anybody ever felt? Please raise your hand. Everybody that have been misunderstood. मेरा intention ऐसा था, आपने गलत समझा. It's very interesting, huh? With ourselves, we judge ourselves by our intention and others by their action. Ideally, we should be judging ourselves by our mildest of wrong action and others by their intention. We should see the good intention in others. Anyway, that's another story again. But Krishna knows the thinking, the thoughts. Krishna knew what Bhishma is thinking, so he told Pandavas to dress in royal garments. This is a classic example, right in this very episode. So when Bhishma is saying, let me offer my thinking, feeling, and willing to Krishna, he knows what he is saying because Krishna knows आप क्या सोच रहे हो. भले हम भगवान के इसलिए ना, that's why in bhakti authenticity is extremely important. When you come in front of Krishna, you should become, as they say, quote unquote, naked. Nanga ho jane ka. Krishna, see, it's not that Krishna doesn't know, he knows it, but he wants to know whether you are willing to confess. That's the confessions in the Christian tradition is quite popular. You come to that confession box. Now they have robots and AIs, as you know, they make Jesus like that, and then you confess to that, and then you get replied. They made all that kind of system in Western churches. But that's a very good concept of confessing to the Lord because he knows what we're thinking anyways. So this is amazing. So Krishna takes thoughts. He can. So he knew that. And then when they all came to Bhishma, what did Bhishma do? Bhishma spoke incredible wisdom. You know, okay, Mahabharata, how many of you know, Bhagavatam, how many cantos are there? 12 cantos. Bhagavad Gita, how many chapters are there? 18. So Mahabharata also has cantos, or it is called as books. So Mahabharata has how many books? Anybody knows? Huh? 18 books, yes. How many days the war lasted? 18 days. So how many books Mahabharata has? 18 books. याद रखने के लिए 18 books Mahabharata has. Bhagavatam has 12 cantos. So in these 18 books, the 12th book is called Shanti Parva. So it is the 12th book that we find Bhishma instructing Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pandavas. After they all see, Bhagavatam gives very concise in one chapter, 9 chapters. And even in 9th chapter, only few verses where Bhishma's instructions to Yudhishthira is summarized. But if you want to read details, you should read Mahabharata. Which book? Shanti Parva, which is which of the 18 books? 12th book. And you know how many days Bhishma spoke to Yudhishthira, which is there in Mahabharata? How long did Krishna speak Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna? 2 hours maximum. थोड़ा चाय पी के थोड़ा गप्पे मार के 2 घंटा ठीक है 1.5 to 2 hours. That's what it takes us on Gita Jayanti to chant the whole Gita. It takes us 2 hours. So let us assume he spoke for 2 hours. How long did Shukdev Goswami speak Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj? 7 days and 7 nights. And Bhishma spoke to Yudhishthira Maharaj the Shanti Parva, the 12th book out of the 18 books. So how many days? Or how many hours? How many minutes? Any guesses? 56 days. Sunrise to sunset. And Shanti Parva has how many chapters? Believe it or not, 360 chapters only. How many? Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, sabko hara diya. Basically, the 12th book, Shanti Parva, is almost half of Mahabharata. So you can imagine the whole Mahabharata on one side, half of Mahabharata on one side, the other half is almost Bhishma speaking to Yudhishthira. That's why it is, we are giving it so much importance, Bhishma's personality and the enigma surrounding Bhishma and all that. So Bhagavatam is, that's why we spent almost 6 months on this chapter now. So, and Bhishma speaks everything about dharma, about duty. Now the final moments, Bhishma's final moments is come, and he is offering prayers that I want to offer my thoughts, my thinking, feel. See, ultimately, after all these discourses for 56 days, what is the ultimate conclusion? He wants to offer. He says, I want to, bas ho gaya, war discussion ho gaya. Now I want to do thinking, feeling, and willing. I want to offer Krishna. It's interesting, you know. You have done so much of work whole life, but ultimately, when you are dying, you are supposed to offer a surrender. You're supposed to surrender to Krishna. And if you're not spent any time now offering our thinking, feeling, willing, how will we do it when we are lying on our bed of arrows? The time will come. Now you are young. Some of you are handsome, beautiful, wealthy, successful. Your senses are strong. If we can't offer our lives now, how will we offer them when we anyways cannot? So therefore, what this chapter, especially this first verse, is a landmark verse. Offer your aspiration, because that is yours. See, your circumstances are not yours. I mean, they may be the prarabdha coming to you. So many things are not in your control. So many of us are put in situations we don't want to be in. But your thinking is yours. Your feelings are yours. Your willingness is yours. That you can offer. And in Krishna consciousness to advance, this is what we actually need. The desire. See, there are 3, if you want to experience anything in life, just take a pause, just understand. If you want to experience something deeply, you need 3 things. Desire. You also need an opportunity to experience that. And you also need the ability to experience that. But in Krishna consciousness, only desire is sufficient. Like for example, when the Govindas started in 2003, I think, 6. You are the founder. How can I forget? 2005, so Krishna around that time, 2006, I remember this. So after the initial days of Govinda started, there was one day they announced. So Brahmachari, we would go to see, we want to get testing committee, launch karne ka hai. So our Radha Vallabh Prabhu would call us. I'm going to test today whether it is of the standard pizza, dosa. So I would say I'll come with you for the testing committee. I was much younger then, I had a good appetite, and I was very enthusiastic to do this seva of testing. So one day they announced, when the Govinda had just started, that we're going to have some mela, food. What was that mela? I forgot. Some prasadam mela was there. Some very big feast, chappan bhog items and all of that. And there would be coupons issued. So now to experience that Govinda chappan bhog feast, I had a desire. I want to enjoy. I want to take this Krishna. But I had no opportunity. But I was not given that pass. So you have a desire that is not sufficient in material world. If you want to experience something, along with desire, you need an opportunity to experience that. Okay. Now desire is there, opportunity is also there. So I got the pass at 5 o'clock in the evening. But problem was that day I had a stomach upset. Ability was not there. So to experience something, you need desire, opportunity, and ability. To experience something, you need desire, opportunity, and ability. But if you want Krishna consciousness experiences, you say, Prabhuji, but I'm staying in very far, I'm staying in Timbuktu, Jumri Talaya, wo gaon mein kahan to, no access to devotees, no internet, no Wi-Fi. How can I attend? No association of devotees, Prabhuji, no opportunity. And I'm very sick, no ability to go to temple, my body is paining. Okay, no opportunity, no ability, but desire. If you have a strong desire, your thinking, feeling, and willingness is there, Krishna will orchestrate events in our life beyond material comprehension. Illogically it sounds, but Krishna is the greatest director. The way he orchestrates events is amazing. So we have desires. So this verse talks about these desires, aspirations, thinking. Krishna, I love you. Krishna, how can I please you? Krishna, I want to serve you. This has to come from our heart. This is offering our gift. This is a gift we can give Krishna. For the unlimited gifts Krishna has given us since childhood. He has given us wonderful parents. He has kept us safe, alive, healthy so far. He has given us sensory functions. So therefore, this is very, very important. See, the first two lines of this purport I want to read. Because Bhishma Dev was a statesman, the head of the Kuru dynasty, a great general and the leader of Kshatriyas, his mind was strewn over so many subjects. And his thinking, feeling, and willing were engaged in different matters. Now, in order to achieve pure devotional service, he wants to invest all powers of thinking, feeling, and willing entirely in the Supreme Being, Lord Krishna. I think this is very, very emphatic, no doubt about it. Right? Very clear, no? So, whole life what he did, so many subjects he spoke. ठीक है यार, अभी हो गया सब. अभी thinking, feeling, अभी only Krishna. That time will come, whoever you are. Therefore, Bhagavatam very emphatically declares. You can repeat this verse after me. It's a very powerful verse. Dharma svanushtita pumsa Vishvaksenu kathasuyaha Notpade yadiratim Shrama eva hi kevalam. This was explains Dharma svanushtita pumsa. Human beings engage in so much of religious activities, but it has to all conclude in hearing and chanting, offering ability to offer our thinking, feeling, and willing to Krishna. Vishvaksenu kathasuyaha. We should be able to get a desire to hear about the Lord. And if this attraction, if this ability, if this is not happening, if you're not coming closer to the Lord with all the so-called, like what Bhishma did, whole life working, doing so much selfless service. If you're doing all of that, notpadayet yadi rati na utpadayet. Agar aapke dil mein rati means attraction to the Lord is not coming. Shrama eva hi kevalam. Keval shrama, it's simply useless labor. So periodically, just like in your job, in your workplace, there is performance appraisal. You have to also take inventory of your spiritual activities. And is my attraction to Krishna growing? But I am simply busy in activities. In office, I am doing so many activities. In Hare Krishna, I am doing activities. Activities, I am giving donations, I am doing this, I am doing that, I am being busy, doing a lot of seva. But what about your thinking, feeling, and willing? Sir, madam, what are you doing about this? Are you offering your intention to Krishna? Therefore, this is very, very important because the goal of human life, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, is, please repeat this verse, Ata Pumbir Vijaya Sreshtha Varnashrama Vibhagasha Sanushtitasya Dharmasya Samsiddher Haritoshanam Ataha Pumbir Vijaya Sreshtha. All the human beings in the society, they have been divided into different orders. Varnashrama Vibhagasha, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. Okay, all of this is okay. But Sanushtitasya Dharmasya, the perfection of all this division is Samsiddhir. Samsiddhir means aapka perfection kab hoga? Samsiddhir Haritoshanam, Krishna, to please Krishna. That is watering of the root of the tree. So therefore, this is when we offer thinking, feeling, and willing to Krishna, that is when we are coming closer to Krishna. You see in the purport, many amazing points Srila Prabhupada writes. You see later on in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, it is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita by the Lord himself that he gives instructions from within the heart of the pure devotees constantly engaged in service of the Lord. Such instruction is not given for any material purpose, but only for going back home, back to God. See, many times devotees say, Prabhuji, how do I know that the voice I hear is God's voice? Have you get this question? My mind is speaking or the Lord is speaking? There are many people who think that Lord is telling them instructions. 1960s, there was a very famous serial killer in Bombay. Raman Raghav, have you heard of him? Raman Raghav, 1960s. It's a very famous story. Even today, after 60 years, his story is spoken about. He bludgeoned how many people? 35 people he killed. He became a terror. In the night, he would go around killing people. In Dadar Bridge, many places in Bombay. Night time, he would kill all these people who were living in the streets. So when he was finally apprehended and produced before the court, he said, Lord directed me from within. And anyway, we are not the body, anyway, we are the soul. So he was talking all Gita concepts. So when he was told, are you not afraid of God? You are doing all killing innocent people. He said, no, Jesus will forgive me. I know Jesus will forgive me. So people, they can get crazy thinking God is telling me from within. But there are sincere devotees who want to be directed by the Lord. But they're not sure whether their mind is speaking or the Lord is speaking in the heart. So here it is very clear. Srila Prabhupada says, see, Lord will speak not for material purpose. So should I take pizza today or should I take ice cream? Krishna will not guide you for that. That is for because you want to enjoy. Should I take up this job or that job? That Krishna will not say. But Prabhupada is saying, but for going back home, back to God. If you have a spiritual desire, 10.10 verse, Krishna says, I direct the devotee, Tesham Sadayuktanam Gatam Prithupurvakam, Tadana Buddhi Yogam Tanenama Upayanti. The 10.10 verses for those, Prabhupada says here, for those who want to go back to Krishna. So if you have a spiritual desire, then Krishna will direct you from within. And if you're very confused whether what I've heard from within, is it God's voice or it is mind's voice? If you're confused, then in all likelihood it is not Krishna's voice. Because Krishna's voice is so assuring that you will have no confusion. You will be clear. You may be humble and you may say, Prabhu, whatever you say I will do. But within you will do what the Lord is directing you. You will be humble in front of devotees, but that is deep connection with the Lord. So that's a very, very important point in the purport. Another very striking point is, Prabhupada says, dealings of Krishna are different in terms of devotees and non-devotees. Non-devotees never care to take an instruction from the Lord, therefore the Lord is silent in their case. although he witnesses all their activities. But for devotees, the Lord is directly. See, sometimes we say, how can God allow this murder to happen, these things to happen? Why is God not stopping him from within the heart? See, the Lord is simply a witness. He is not involved. But if you have a desire for spiritual growth, then his voice becomes loud and clear. Otherwise, he's simply a witness. And if you really want to hear Krishna's voice in the heart, you can't say, "Mereko sunna hai, abhi kya karu?" You can't be smoking cigarettes and drinking liquor and also expecting Krishna to speak in your heart. The criteria the Gita says is Jitatmana Prashantasya Paramatma Samahita. We should be constantly endeavoring to control our mind and senses. Then we can expect to hear the Lord's voice. We can't be not controlling our mind and senses and also expecting the Lord to speak in the heart. That won't happen. So the more we, and that is one thing, controlling the mind and senses. And the second, as this verse reveals, we need to have a culture and a practice of offering our thoughts, thinking, feeling, and willing to Krishna. The more we offer our desires and aspirations, the more Krishna will listen. Ye yatama prapadyante tamstateva bhajamyaham. Krishna says in the Gita, as you come to me, you take one step forward, you offer your thinking, feeling, willing, I will also come to you. So, if you really say, Krishna, I really want to please you, I want to serve you. If you say this from your heart, then you will get ideas on how to serve. I'm sure all of us have some personal stories, but out of humility and also we don't want to get embarrassed, so we don't share. But Krishna guides us when we sincerely have a desire to offer our thinking, feeling, and willingness to him. And why we are unable to offer our thinking, feeling, and willing to Krishna? Anybody knows? I want to ask a question. Many of you will say, Prabhuji, I know this, but I'm unable to offer my thinking, feeling, willingness to Krishna because... Think about it. Why is it that we are unable to have that experience of Krishna all the time? See, we can experience Krishna only if we are connected to Krishna through our thoughts. But the reason why we are not able to offer our thoughts to Krishna, why? Yes, exactly. Our thoughts are self-obsessive thoughts. And those self-obsessive thoughts are rooted on what? What emotion drives us? Yes. That happiness also in material world, which is the most powerful factor that drives all human beings. Enjoyment is there, but of the four, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maitun, which is the most powerful, Srila Prabhupada says, of the four. Not sex. Bhaya. Bhaya is the most powerful. Bhaya is driving us all. Even when you are fast asleep, Bhaya is there. Insecurities and fears is what is prevalent all the time. You can't eat beyond a certain limit. You can't sleep more than 10-15 hours. You can't have sex like the pigeons. But fear is something which is always there. Insecurity, kya hoga budhape mein, ye kya hoga, wo kya hoga. Fear drives all of them. Bhagavad Gita, especially the first chapter, is in-depth analysis on fear. That fear drives all of us. If you see 1.29 and 30, when Arjuna is refusing to fight the battle, when 1.29 it tells Krishna, Vepatuscha sharire me roma harshascha jayate gandiva samshate hastat vakcheva paridayate. He says, Krishna, my body is trembling, my throat is parched, my hand is trembling. I mean, he's a warrior who's never lost a battle. Gandiva is more able to hold, he's able to shoot arrows from both hands. He's like Sabyasachi, so powerful. And he's explaining all these symptoms. Prabhupada writes in the purport that these symptoms are, if a person has these symptoms which Arjuna is having, it means either he is having spiritual ecstasy or he is in great insecurity and fear. And then Prabhupada writes that Arjuna is right now in material fear. And that is why he is having these symptoms. These symptoms are not because of ecstasy. He says, Krishna, I cannot stand here. Nacha shakno avastatum Brahmati vacha me manaha nimittani cha pashyani viparitani cha keshavam. He says, Krishna, I cannot stand here. My mind is going crazy. Anybody here felt like, don't raise your hands, but have you felt your mind is going crazy? We all have felt at some point of time. Brahmativa chame manaha, my mind is going crazy. And what he says is very interesting. Nimittani cha pashyani viparitani keshava. He's saying, I'm seeing contradictory results happening. I want the kingdom, but I'm also seeing I'm going to lose all my relatives. So this is very interesting. Nimittani cha viparitani means I want something, but I'm also seeing the contrary result, which means I'm also seeing something I don't want going to happen. In material world, you don't get anything free of cost. You get something, you have to pay a heavy price. When we want it, the mind is pushing us, get it, enjoy it. And the moment you get it, the mind is complaining about the price you paid for it. That's how the mind tricks us. So if you are constantly seeing these contrary results, then you are like Arjuna. You are driven by fear. If you are constantly living in duality, dvanda, fear is driving us. See, when I was in college, I was very fond of Star Wars. I don't know if you know. Star Wars is a very famous. When I travel to US and I quote Star Wars, everybody is happy. Bacha, Buddha, Mataji, Prabhuji. So the JD Knighted Warriors, the initiated devotees in Star Wars, unka diksha hota hai. So Master Yodo is instructing Choi Won Jin. They're all warrior monks like Arjuna, the brahmachari, fighter, strong. So this warrior monk, he gives him beautiful instructions on controlling your fears, releasing your anger. You know, when you read that, if you're a student of Bhagavad Gita, if you hear that, you think, "Arey, to Bhagavad Gita bol raha hai." When I didn't know Bhagavad Gita when I was in college, when I came to KC, I was hearing Bhagavad Gita college. I thought, "Arey, ye to Master Yoda bol rahe hain." So it is interesting how who is plagiarizing who. Anyway. So basically, I think it's universal. Everybody knows if you want to be successful, you need to release your attachments. You need to release your insecurities and fears. See, you can carry on with your duties, but you should know it's a temporary. I have nothing to do with my son, my daughter, my responsibilities. Ultimately, they're all going to be snatched away from me. See, again, you know, people go to extremes. Acha, are you saying you should, disconnect from? No, but see, detachment doesn't mean giving up. Detachment means constantly reminding yourself that this is temporary and this is going to be taken away from you. Constantly reminding yourself that this is temporary is detachment while you are involved in that. Because then when eventually it's taken away, you'll be peaceful. Some people think detachment means externally giving up. But internally, that's what Arjuna wanted to do. He wanted to become a beggar. And go to the forest, and Krishna stopped him from that because he knew that it's not external. So we have to meditate on Krishna's reply to Arjuna. If we want to offer our thoughts here, the purport today is offering our thinking, feeling, and willingness to Krishna. And our inability to offer that is because of fear and insecurity. Because they're obsessed with our own thoughts. So, to be able to offer our thinking, feeling, willingness to Krishna, we need to meditate on what Krishna is telling Arjuna in the Gita after the first chapter. So, 2.34 and 35, the second chapter, Krishna exposes Arjuna. See, what happens when you are driven by your material attachments, your mind convinces you that you are very intelligent. And you are lost. See, Arjuna had very logical reasons. When we are crazy, we give very logical reasons. So, Arjuna is being told that Krishna is telling Arjuna, "Oh Arjuna, you are thinking you are very intelligent, but you are a fool. Ashochanan sochasam pragyavadamsha vashasi. Gatasuna gatasumsha nanusho pandita apandita. You are a fool. Klebyam masmagam parta. You are a important. He calls it mentally important. And that's the ultimate insult to give a Kshatriya. But to call a Kshatriya a eunuch is extremely insulting. So these things he's saying, so basically Krishna is telling Arjuna in 2.34 and 35 that you are not giving up because of your compassion. Don't fool me. You are giving up because of your weak-heartedness, Vidya Daurbalyam. And Arjuna, Sambhavitasya Chakirti Bharadakrichati, for a respectable man, dishonor is worse than death. If you leave the battlefield, you will be dishonored, and that will be worse than death for you. See, this is harsh. See, we need devotees who will expose us. See, generally we want devotees to endorse what we are saying. We look for certification. We look for approval. See, generally what we do with our mind, we judge the whole world. Right? We're constantly analyzing people and situations. Am I saying the right thing? See, we use our mind to constantly analyze and judge events and people. But we need at least one person with whose help we can analyze and judge our own mind. See, we are using the mind to judge others, but are you judging your mind? Are you analyzing your mind? For that we need help. For that we need Krishna. For that we need scriptures. We need Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, Arjuna tells Krishna, no, Krishna, I'm not running away out of fear. I'm running because I'm actually feeling compassion for them. So Krishna says, Vayad Granad Paratam Manyate Mam Tvam Maharata. All these warriors will not think like that. They will think you are left the battlefield out of fear. They will not think that you are actually very humble and you are compassionate. So again, Krishna is provoking that part of Arjuna, his Kshatriya pride. So therefore, Krishna to Arjuna is exposing our attachment, our insecurity, and our fear. See, material world, let us admit, all of you are grahasthas with more experience than me. Damned if you do it, damned if you don't. Then you are like, yeah, you're stuck. Therefore, our only hope is to offer our thinking, feeling, and willingness to Krishna, because you can't do what you want to do. Material world. All of us, Chandramouli Maharaj gave a beautiful example once. He says, material life is like, being in a boxing ring where you are against a mighty adversary and you are tiny, you're a puny little fighter, and he's constantly knocking you, punching you, pulverizing you. And what would you do if you are in a boxing ring and you're constantly being beaten by a stronger adversary? What would you do? You would give up the fight, right? But Chandramouli Maharaj was saying in that class that our material life is like being in a boxing ring and constantly being punched by a stronger opponent. But it's a game you can't win, but you can't stop playing. You can't say, okay, I will give up. You don't say that. You continue to be in the boxing ring, but you can't win also. You say, if I have to constantly keep playing, let me win. Sorry, you can't win. Okay, then I'll give up. No, you can't give up. Then what do I do? Get knocked. So, therefore, our insecurity and fears are mounting day by day. So, again, coming back to the root question, how do I offer my thinking, feeling, and willingness to Krishna? Simple solution. Krishna gives in the second chapter, series of verses, 6 continuous verses. It says, Buddhi Yoga. He keeps talking about this. Fix your intelligence on me, which means fix your thoughts, thinking on me. Buddhi will get purified. Now you say, how? We are going around in circles. I want to offer my thinking to Krishna, thoughts to Krishna. I'm not able to because of fear and attachment. And now you are saying I can overcome fear and attachment if I offer my thoughts to Krishna. Right? So how question is genuine, legitimate. When devotees ask how, I don't get upset. I understand. So how do I offer Buddhi to Krishna? So that Krishna explains in 4.9 and 10. Fourth chapter is actually called Transcendental Knowledge. It's the chapter of knowledge. How to offer our thoughts to Krishna is explained very beautifully. These are very famous verses. You can please repeat after me. Janma karma cha me devyam evam yo veti tattvataha tektva deham punarjanma neti mameti so Arjuna. Janma karma cha me devyam. Krishna's transcendental birth and activities. Understand it in truth. Means hear about it, read about it. Then tektva deham punarjanma neti. Then you won't take another birth again. And ma meti so Arjuna. You will come back to me. So the goal is, the way to do it is, buddhi, offering our buddhi to Krishna basically means understand about Krishna, read about Krishna, hear Bhagavatam, come for these Monday classes, or read Bhagavatam. This is what Krishna is asking us to do. Then you may say, but okay, Krishna is saying understand Krishna in truth. How do I understand Krishna in truth? Again, how question never stops. Anything you say, how? So how do I understand Krishna in truth? So that Krishna answers the next verse, the 10th verse, where he says, Pitiraga Bhaya Krodha Manmaya Mahupashita Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Puta Madbhava Magata. Krishna says very, very clear how to understand Krishna in truth. See, again, we are going back to the same flowchart. Our goal is what? To offer our thinking, feeling, and willingness to Krishna. We are unable to offer that gift to Krishna because of our insecurities and fears. And overcome the insecurities and fears, Krishna says we should practice Buddhi Yoga. And how do we practice Buddhi Yoga? By understanding Krishna in truth. And how do we understand Krishna in truth? With this verse which I chanted just now. Two things Krishna says if we do regularly, the problem will be solved. Don't ask me how to do those two things. First you ask what are those two things. Can you repeat this verse? Vitaraga Vaya Krodha Manmaya Upashrita Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Bhuta Madbhava Magataha. He says you will be able to give up Raga, Bhaya and Krodha. Your fear, insecurities, anger, attachment you can give up. How? Manmaya ma upashrita. In your mind, take shelter of me. And do tapasya of knowledge. Bhagavo jnana. Tapasa means study scriptures sincerely. That will bhuta mad bhava magata. That will purify you. So two things. Study scriptures sincerely. That is jnana tapasa. And also secondly, study the scriptures in the mood of upashrita. Taking shelter. The mood of taking shelter. If you have these two practices, taking shelter of Krishna and studying scriptures, in that mode if we do, then there is a good chance that we will be able to overcome our fear and attachment. Krishna is assuring, Raga, Bhaya and Krodha will go away. So therefore, scriptures in the mode of shelter. If we do this, then Krishna will give us a gift. The 10th chapter, Krishna explained very clearly. The gift he will give is fearlessness. In fact, it's very interesting that first 10.4 purport, that one paragraph twice Srila Prabhupada writes, devotee's future is very bright. 2 times he writes that sentence in the same paragraph. Devotee's future is very bright because he is fearless. All his insecurity and fear is gone. And because he knows that he is going back to God. Because he studies scriptures diligently and is also taking shelter of. So these are the two things. Remember this. What are the two things we need to do? Take shelter of Krishna in the mind and study scriptures. What will happen if we do these two things? We will understand Krishna in truth. If we understand Krishna in truth, we will be able to practice Buddhi Yoga. If we practice Buddhi Yoga, we will be able to overcome our fear and insecurities. And if we are able to overcome our fear and insecurities, our thinking, feeling, willingness would be always offered to Krishna as a gift. In fact, 16.1, 16th chapter, anybody know what is the title of the 16th chapter of Gita? Divine and demoniac nature. So Krishna in the very first verse says, fearlessness is a divine quality. And in that purport, Srila Prabhupada says, renounced order is also fearless because they know Krishna will protect them. So the idea is even Grihasthas have to be dependent on Krishna eventually. The idea is to realize Krishna will take care of me. To realize that Krishna is our protector will happen when we associate with Krishna through scriptures and in our mind we take shelter. So therefore, offering our thoughts is extremely important. And now, after hearing all of this, the question arises how to practically apply this. How do I practically offer thoughts to Krishna? It's simple. It's just like I'm speaking right now words in spoken form. You speak these words in thoughts. That you say, I want to serve Krishna. So you say this in your thoughts form. That is offering your thoughts. In any given situation, you have a choice of thoughts. Generally, we are always, in every situation, we have 3 choices of thoughts. Your thoughts, always there are 3 choices. You have to pick up one. Choice, see the thoughts which we have, they could be either in Rajas, Tamas or Sattva. I'll give an example. So one of my brahmachari colleagues called me some years ago. Prabhu, we are going to Lathur, Nanded, Parvani for bus party, marathon. Please come. You have to come now, please. For 1 month. We are living in 5 hours. Please pack up, come. So I was very tired and had a long, hectic 3 weeks. So I didn't have the wherewithal to go for this trip. So I politely excused myself and even we kept negotiating back and forth. So after half an hour of discussion, finally we ended our conversation and I could manage to get out of that service because I had already enough my hands were full. So then when we hung up, I had again, I'm giving an example. I had 3 thought choices. First, I could have thought, see, look at him. He never calls me except when he wants some service. He's not my friend. He claims to be my friend. He's so selfish. And he doesn't love me at all. Nobody loves me. I'm so lonely here. This is one choice of thoughts. So if I keep cultivating this thought, then I'm encouraging tamas, ignorance, tamasic feelings will come. I'll start feeling lonely. I'll start feeling melancholy. I'll start blaming, envious, depressed. I'll become a depressed person with psychiatric issues because I've chosen tamasic thoughts and I'm creating a neural pathway. पूरा circuit settings कर दिया, मैं fix कर दिया. I don't know that in this mental landscape there are many other paths I can walk, but I'm attached to one particular path. I want to walk only that path now. In any situation, you have this choice, and I'm sure you all know some people who always choose tamasic thoughts. But I also had a second choice. So this situation was not my doing. He called me. But after I hung up, I had 3 choices. First was to think that I'm not loved. The second choice I had was, aha, see, now he has realized I'm so worthy. He needs me. I am such an important person in this community. Without me, this service cannot happen. मेरा भाव समझ में आया उसको. These kind of thoughts, if I cultivate, what will happen? What mode am I attracting? Rajas, passion. And I am going to increase my false pride. I'm going to get more and more crazy. But I also had a third choice. After I hung up, Krishna, thank you. I'm still being asked to do service. That means you're pleased with me. You're sending your devotees to engage me in your service. I am so fortunate that devotees remember me and they want to engage me in service. So the more I cultivate and choose these thoughts, so I'm entering the space of gratitude, which is sattva. And sattva is the platform. It's like the launching pad for entering into Shuddha sattva, surrender. The ability to offer up thinking, feeling, and willingness to Krishna is Shuddha sattva, pure goodness, but that can happen only if we are situated in sattva first. And sattva means choosing appreciation, gratitude, kindness as a choice. You don't feel grateful. It's a choice. See, happiness is fleeting. Happiness is unpredictable. Happiness is not in our hand. But gratitude is a choice. Gratitude is a moment-to-moment choice. Gratitude is in your control. So therefore, this is a choice. So thoughts. So in every situation, we have 3 choice thoughts. And that's how we offer our thinking, feeling, and will. This is a practical application of what we've discussed in the Bhagavatam last week. And when we start offering our thinking, thoughts to Krishna, thoughts is the first step. When you start offering thoughts, you'll see that feelings also come. See, your thoughts determine your feelings. The way you think will eventually lead to certain feelings. Are you getting what I'm saying? Thoughts lead to feelings. Of course, feelings also lead to thoughts. It's a loop. But if we change our thinking patterns, we can also change our feelings eventually. I'll give you 2 examples. We were going to Mayapur Yatra. So we had to go to Lokmanya Tilak and take a train to Howrah. So our vehicle, Brahmachari, divided into 2 buses. Our bus reached first. We all boarded the train. The second bus, devotees were stuck in the traffic. And the second bus, devotees had, this is we're talking about 20 years ago when we didn't have all this internet and all of that. Tickets were hard copies, print out. So that fellow had the tickets. The one was stuck in the traffic. And we had this mobile phones, not the smartphones. We were calling, अटक गए हम लोग नहीं आ सकते, फंस गए, ट्रेन निकल रहा है 5 मिनट, आप कितना दूर है, हमारा 10 किलोमीटर दूर है, क्या होगा, all that panic. And they had the mridanga, kartal, everything, sound system, tickets are all with them, and we were 50 of us in the train, and the other 50 are stuck in the traffic. So what do we do? And in our group, everybody is in anxiety in LTT in the train. I'm in anxiety, I'm coordinating. But Gaurang Priya Prabhu, one of our brahmacharis, he's blissfully smiling all the time. And he's so selfish, he's so in his own world. How can he be so happy? We're all in anxiety, he's not in anxiety. Then as I'm talking on the phone, then I asked one of the senior devotees, kya kare? Then we decided to do something illegal, something wrong. You know what we decided to do? Keep pulling the chain till they come. So the train started. So as soon as the train started, somebody went to some compartment. Gaurang Priya only went, he pulled the chain. And then after the chain was pulled, then the train stopped. Then it takes some time for the whole thing to sort out. And then again after some time the train started again, some other dabba, other bathroom, somebody. So aisa karke around 7-8 times hua ye drama. 7-8 times. By this time the car came, they came running, they boarded the train, and then the train started. And then the whole time Gaurang Priya was blissful. He said, Prabhus, you were all in anxiety, but I was blissful because from childhood I had a desire to pull the chain of the train. And at last, today I saw there's an opportunity where I can do this many times. So when I realized they are stuck in the traffic, see what I'm trying to say is, we all were feeling anxious. He was not feeling anxious because his thoughts are different. See, the pilot announces in the plane, ladies and gentlemen, the plane is going to crash. Mayday, mayday, but we have parachutes for all. We are going to jump out. So imagine you are in the plane. What will you feel? Scared. I know somebody, when I said this in a class, when I asked this in a class, one person said, "Bro, I'm so excited to hear this. Parachute, I always want to jump from parachute." See, whether you feel sad, fearful, anxiety, or excited depends on what you've been thinking all these days. Your thoughts determine your feelings. So if you start working on your thoughts, consciously start thinking, practicing Krishna I'm yours, Krishna I want to serve you. If you start practicing this, then we will be able to offer our thinking, feeling, and willingness to Krishna. See, I'll tell you, when I joined the ashram, I had a very good seva. All of you can also do this now, which is the month of marathon, December book marathon. So I used to go to Mumbai local trains to distribute books. Like, the poem sellers and the pen sellers. I used to also stand and make announcements, Bhagavad Gita Lije. I used to make announcements about the small books of Prabhupada. So I used to go to the local trains for 3 hours. And I used to come back from Grand Road Station to temple walking. And I would distribute 25-30 books in 3 hours. But one day what happened, and I'm making an announcement, everybody brought the books. And I distributed 130 books. And from Grand Road to temple, I came walking. I was so happy. My bag was empty. My both bags were empty. And I felt like a cricket batsman who is returning to the pavilion after scoring a century. I still remember that I took out my bag and started waving it in the air. As if I had scored a century. And when I came to the temple and in the morning, they announced the scores. And yesterday's top scorer is Vraja Bihari with the score of 131 books. And everybody is like, Hari Bol! And they coming to me, Prabhu, how do you do it? No, Krishna did it. I'm very humble. Everybody is appreciating me. And I was so excited. And you won't believe it, the next day also, 145 books. One day I did 175 books. And continuously, every day I was doing 100 plus. And I felt I'm like a cricket batsman scoring a century every day. And I was very attached to cricket before I joined the ashram. I used to watch cricket matches in Wankhede Stadium also. So I felt like a champion cricket batsman was scoring century because a one-day match, one innings is 3 hours. So I thought 3 hours I'm batting, not out, 140, 130 I'm coming back. I was feeling so excited. Everybody was praising me. In fact, they introduced me to Maharaj also saying, Maharaj, he's a top scorer. All that. I was so excited. Actually, when I look back now, all that happiness was thrill, stimulation, and excitement. One day, during this period, nobody took books. Everything was doing the same. But I came back with a score of 25. 3 hours, same announcement, same local train, exhausted. And in the morning when they announced 25, one brahmachari came up to me and said, "Yeah, Brajbari, आजकल time pass कर रहा है, आजकल spaced out है, कुछ कर नहीं रहा है, you're not doing much, you're spaced out, I think." So, क्या हो गया? You're not working hard nowadays. So comments started coming. Man, I had to justify, explain. No, Prabhu, I work very hard, but they were not impressed. So next day I worked harder. But no, same 27, 29. I'm like, what is happening? Then third day, I became desperate. I just a sawal hai, reputation. And then when I gave the book, people took the book immediately. I didn't say it in the Vaikari form, the Madhyama, the thought form. Krishna, please, please let him take the book, Krishna. You are in his heart as Paramatma. Please, Krishna, let his spiritual life begin. Please, Krishna, let him take. And you keep looking at the book and give it back. He would not take the book. And I didn't have time to waste. Then I would rush to another person. Bhagavad Gita, Pustak, and I would give the book. And after giving the book, small books, not the Bhagavad Gita, I would take the small books. I would give the small books to him. And as he would look at the book, I would say, Krishna, please, Krishna, let his spiritual life begin. So, the moment I left the temple, I would start remembering Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada, government, I would offer Paramatma, and all the prayers I would chant, remembering the lotus feet of Gopinath, Krishna, and there I would give books. So externally it was appearing, I'm smiling, I'm talking. I would even engage in a conversation, answer their questions. But in my inner world, I was offering thoughts in my thought form, in my prayers, because I was attached, material attachment. But it was nevertheless connecting with Krishna through thoughts. And I remember that day also I did 35 or 30, not much more than 33, 34 books. And I came back same way. But interestingly, as I walked from Grand Road to temple, I was peaceful. And when devotee asked me, as soon as I came to the temple, "Kitna hua Brajbari score?" I said 35. And as I said that score, I was peaceful. I didn't feel a need to justify, explain, clarify. And the best part was, next day I did 140. But again, when devotees appreciated me, I had the same experience like the previous day. The appreciation and the cynicism both made no difference to me. Why? How was the last 3-4 days different from the last 1 month? What was the difference? Because I was consciously remembering Krishna. I was not going for the external thrill and stimulation. So even though I had a lesser score, I was more happier than when I had a big score. Do you understand? So I'm not saying we should not want a bigger score. This year we want to do double of last year. We want to do 3 lakh Bhagavad Gitas for glorifying His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. But I'm just giving an example of ultimately why we are doing all this. Ena kena prakarena manha Krishna nivesha. Some or other fix your mind on Krishna. That's the goal. So to summarize, we discussed today the first prayer of Bhishma, which is offering thinking, feeling and willingness to Krishna. The gift of our thoughts, which we are unable to offer right now because of our fear and insecurity. And what is the solution Krishna recommends in the second chapter? Buddhi Yoga, purifying our intelligence, which comes by knowing Krishna in truth. To know Krishna in truth, we have to do 2 things: study scriptures diligently and in the mind take shelter of Krishna. These are the 2 things we need to do. If we do this, then we will be able to overcome our fear and insecurity and attachments, and we'll be able to fix our mind and offer our thoughts to Krishna. And we discuss different examples of how our thinking is what determines our feelings. I give examples of book distribution, the train, the plane, different aspects of our lives where how we think will lead to feelings. So if you're feeling that I don't love Krishna, I don't feel inspired in bhakti, then start working on your thoughts and start consciously choosing. At every given point of time, you have a choice of 3 thoughts: sattva, rajas, and tamas. In any provocative situation, you can either choose tamasic, rajasic, or sattvic thoughts. And accordingly, you will develop feelings. And accordingly, you can change your neural circuits. And accordingly, you can invoke certain feelings in them. So this is the first prayer of Vishnu. And we will continue. Next week, we'll take 2 or 3 prayers. So we hope to complete this in another 2 minutes. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. They are gone. We are 15 minutes beyond time. I'm not sure if we should take questions today. Who is our Pragavasaram, you are in charge. Should we take questions or should we end now? We can end now. It's late. Thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please pray that we can meet again next Monday. I should be here. Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.